Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Nintendo Rewind. My name is Cody Christian, and I'm joined by my magnanimous co-host, Chris Becker. We're rewinding and recapping last week for Nintendo, talking about all of the freaking leaks that have hit. We're actually not going to talk about the leaks directly. We don't want Nintendo. Please put the swords down. Stop, Nintendo. Nintendo, stop. We're not fighting with Nintendo today. I have Luigi freaked out, chilling over here behind me for Halloween's. We're decorating a little bit. But we're going to be talking about leaks and the impact of them on the games industry and whether or not we want those, how they're going to affect things going forward. But if you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to click that like button. Make sure you subscribe so that way you come back and see us every single week and maybe say hey in the chat. I'll say hey back, I promise. And if you're here on Twitch, know that you're our favorite child. Christopher, how is it going, my guy?
It's going pretty good, actually. I had some good stuff happen this week that we'll talk about after the podcast. But then I also... remember, I learned. I don't know.
I learned?
I don't know. Yeah, I learned. I forgot. I guess I wasn't even thinking. I mean, we're only a few weeks away from, moving the clocks ahead an hour. Back.
I don't fall back, spring forward. We get an extra hour.
Leave fall out of this. Good stuff. Holla.
Holla.
But the thing is, I forgot. Time is not changing for 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
I don't even know anymore. I never pay attention to it because my phone does it automatically for me.
So Halloween is on Friday, and then that Sunday, 2 days after Halloween, the 2nd is when...
Why would the American government do that to us? Why would they change time right after a holiday? Like, what did we do to deserve this?
I don't know. I mean, we're not even going to get into it. The thing I'm trying to bring up, okay, is the fact that I didn't even realize. I completely forgot. It escaped my mind. It's eggnog season.
It's eggnog season.
I forgot eggnog was the thing. That it was around.
We talked about it last year this time of year. How did you forget about eggnog?
It's been a year. I remembered it existed, okay? Just for the record. But I forgot that I could go get it.
CC Wire, it didn't skip my mind.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I know. Oh, gosh.
I do like a nice thick custard that I can drink.
Do you put alcohol in your eggnog?
Occasionally, but I don't. It's very rare. I'm not much of a drinker in general. Like these days, my life is just not. I don't need to drink. I already have bad enough time with GERD. I don't need it to be booze coming up too. So it's just no thanks. No thanks.
Also, I don't like the taste of alcohol. So here's the thing: if I'm going to drink alcohol, I want to not be able to tell it's there. I might drink it in like a mimosa. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of a mimosa.
Okay.
Don't get them mixed up with samosas.
Or Samoans. Listen, what about...
Have I?
There is like this liqueur.
We're churching it up.
It was like something that I normally wouldn't like, and you would mix it with like chocolate milk, or I mixed it with chocolate milk. What was the name of it?
What is this, like a mudslide? Is this like
like an Irish something?
Irish coffee?
Some sort of Irish cream? No, coffee, please.
I just listen. You're talking about Bailey's?
Yeah, it was Bailey's. Yes, thank you. I knew.
You ever had Bailey's from a shoe? So what are you saying about her? Leave her and her alcoholism alone.
I'm saying she would know what I was talking about.
Well. Oh,
wait
man. Wait!
Yeah.
She's yelling in the chat. Oh, man, she feels called out.
But yeah, I had that. I'll drink it like if that's what it tastes like, or like when I first turned 21, I would drink like Boone's Farm because I would always hear people
Boone's
talk
Farm.
about how terrible it was, and I was like, let me check this
Strawberry
out.
Hill Boone's Wine and Spirits. I don't even know what this is. Oh, this is wine something. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It looks cheap.
Listen, I was very sophisticated. Well, hold on.
I'm looking at it here. It looks cheap. What is this label?
Listen.
They didn't even win an award. Not there.
Yeah, when I first turned 21, this was before the second time.
Thank you, Mnemonic Man.
But yeah, I couldn't even. I don't even remember what I was talking about. Probably drank too much Boone's Farm. But yeah.
What is up, Sue Christian 12 over in the YouTube chat? Hi, how are you? There's Mom.
Who's in there, Mom?
Yeah, my mom's watching. Welcome in, Mother. How are you? leave a like and maybe subscribe.
Yeah,
while you're
leave
over
a like. Thank goodness the Rapture didn't get you. The thing I will say is about Nintendo is we've got Pokemon coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Was that next week?
Yeah, that's this week. Not even next week. That's this week.
Oh, that's on Thursday.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about Pokemon this week. But we're also going to be, just to kind of keep people in the know, Kiatic's going to be joining us next week. If you've been over in the Twitch chat and you've watched, Kiatic is in the chat pretty much constantly and then goes to bed promptly at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every week. And she's going to be staying up well past her bedtime to join us and talk about Pokemon Legends ZA. And it's gonna be a good time. It's nice to have a guest on the show to come in and do a review every now and again, and not have to be the person that covers it every single week. So I'm thankful for her coming on and joining us. So if you're not following her, make sure that you give a quick follow to Kiatic over on her Twitch channel. Shout outs in the Twitch chat right now. But all that being said, I also want to make sure that I welcome people into the chat who are here hanging out with us. We had Kiatic at the top of the hour. Mnemonic Man followed up with a Prime Gaming sub. I'll eventually get it out. Thank you so much for subscribing and supporting the channel. Don't forget to use your Prime sub on your favorite streamer of choice. We also had CC Wire showing up. We had Susie welcoming her in. Silent Brook, welcome in as well. I am tenderly. Take a look at this nerd. Take a look at that nerd out there in the chat. Nettist rolling up, telling us Store Eggnog is gross nasty. He makes it himself. And then we also had Commodore Zed with a hey. How is it going? Commodore Zed.
Listen, you just get the grimy, crummy eggnog. and you drink it.
You get what you get.
Yeah, you get what you get and you drink it. I was looking up like recipes to make it and then never followed.
It tastes like poison, isn't it? Oh man. Oh my goodness. My mother goes on to say, I'm doing good, and maybe it's good that I showed up, she says in the live chat over there on the YouTube as well. So shout out to Sue Christian 12 over there in the YouTube chat too. So this week has been not near as crazy as it has been the past couple of weeks. We've been getting deep into the homeschool stuff, getting the kids on track, and really that's about it. Besides playing Fortnitemares with you, which has been tons of fun. Not that I haven't been stressing every single game that we've been playing because it's been a sweat fest out here. So, but I've been enjoying that. I did decide. I know we talked about it, I think last week or the week before, about how I wasn't sure if I even wanted to pick up Pokemon Legends ZA. It hasn't really grabbed me quite the way that I wanted it to.
You've been talking smack about it for the last 6 months.
I have, but I've ended up deciding that I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna hate buy it. That's
No
what
one
I'm
saw
gonna
that
do.
coming.
No one saw that guy. I mean, it's a Nintendo game. I kind of have to pick it up, but I'm not going to be playing it into oblivion to be able to review it. That's why we're having Kiatic come on. I am going to try to check it out. Maybe I'll be able to have an actual conversation with her about it when she comes onto the show. So we all knew you were going to get out of here. Susie. You don't know me, but it's been one of those times where I wasn't sure, and I'm still unsure. The more I look at this game, whether or not I think it's going to be good. Reviews have been pouring in. But they've been they've been positive, right? I mean, you sent me the screenshot from Metacritic or what, OpenCritic? Was that OpenCritic this morning with it having like what, an 83 or something like that?
Yeah.
So
83, yeah.
It's doing well. And a lot of them are saying like, hey, it's not soaring to the heights that, Legends Arceus did, but it is a good battle mechanic kind of game. And that's not really what I was wanting. I was wanting more Legends Arceus kind of an experience, but hey, it's all good. It's all good. I'll deal with it. I'm not going to be too upset about not catching them all. But is this a game? I think I asked you this. I don't know if I asked it on stream or if I asked you this later. I think I asked you this later. But is this a game that you could see yourself getting? Like, would you have been excited for this game yourself as a Switch 2 player if you had a Switch 2 yet?
Yeah, if I wasn't busy dying, this is a game I would for sure pick up.
But would you be excited to pick it up? That's the question.
Would I be excited to pick it up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just solely based on like the 40 or 50 hours I put into Arceus.
But it's not Arceus. It is different.
Yeah, well, it's made by the same team.
So is that one awesome game that came out on other platforms, but we see the difference in quality, and that's
awesome game.
That's where I'm at. What was the other Game Freak launched earlier this year?
I have no idea, but that's a separate team within Game Freak.
Beast of Reincarnation.
And that hasn't come out yet.
Oh no, it's not out yet, but it's coming, and it looks awesome. Like, graphically, it looks insane. But I did love Arceus. I loved Arceus, but I'm withholding my opinions.
Like that much.
I loved Arceus. I did not. I just, battles are not my thing anymore. I'm too old for the slow battles they put in these games where there's no strategy but mash A. And that's what I'm hoping is this does something different. I really want this to do something different. Did like Arceus, mostly it was just cursing at the game. What the censor is that? Over and over and over, says the bottom man in the live chat. Brooksy said she didn't love Arceus though. Tindy says Arc was the best. How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how did you feel about Legends Arceus?
Like an 8.
Okay, so it's running about the same. Me telling you to play Pokemon Unbound for the millionth time. He's got the Bernie Sanders meme out here. Once again, I'm asking you to play Pokemon Unbound.
Wait, Pokemon Unbound?
Yeah, it's a ROM hack. It's a really cool ROM hack. Like, I ended up downloading the ROM hack on my to my analog and have yet had the chance to dive into it because I know it's a little bit of an intimidating play, but it's got difficulty levels, like all kinds of different things that you can do in that game, and it looks crazy. Like, it looks super cool.
No interest.
Because it's an old game? Like, what is your problem?
No interest in that. There was one. Yeah, I have no interest. If they were to bring back all the old Pokemon games on like NSO, I'd play them.
So it's like up through like Gen 3 and that's about it?
Gen 3? What do you mean?
Like, what do you mean, fake Pokemon fan? Red, Blue, Yellow is Gen 1. Gold, Silver, and Crystal is Gen 2, and Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald is Gen 3.
Yeah, I guess you're right, because they don't have a DS.
Yeah. Well, but also, like, Gen 3 is what that game is based in. It is, the Pokemon Unbound is Gen 3, like, its engine.
what is this called? Pokemon what?
Unbound. And it does have every Pokemon up to Sword and Shield, but it works within the Gen 3 engine.
My mouse died, so I can't look at it right now.
That bodes well for the rest of the show. You know what? I'm thankful that you've charged your mouse or have proper batteries installed. You know what else I'm thankful for?
What else? What else are you thankful for?
Yeah, I bet you couldn't guess. Not in a million years. I'm thankful for our amazing supporters and producers over at NintendoRewind.com. We always want to make sure that we're thanking our generous supporters and producers. If you would like to directly support our content, every dollar spent on memberships and merch helps us continue to produce this show. There's even a tier that only costs $1 a month, and with it, you will also get a shout out right here on this show. That said, I want to thank Calamity Nolan, Sierra Christian, Chaotic, and Mnemonic Man for all of their generous, amazing support. Also of note, if you're not hanging out over in the Discord, you should. There's a link in the live chat right here that you can go and join in on over on Twitch. There's a link in the Twitch chat here, but you can come and talk with us. Chit chat. Maybe be like our old co-host Josh, R.I.P. Josh, who shows up and says long time no talk and then doesn't talk again after we reply to him. But you know, hey, it is what it is. But thank you guys so much for your amazing, gracious support.
Josh.
Yep. Yeah. Hey Josh, are you talking to Josh here?
Yeah,
I don't think he was watching this show. He's busy with real life. He's got things he's doing. We talk about video games.
He's probably playing Sonic Racing.
He probably is. Sonic Racing Crossworlds. But without any further ado, we are going to get to the crux of our show, the main topic, right after this. Listen, y'all. It has been a wet weekend for Game Freak and the Pokemon Company as they have sprung yet another massive leak. Pokemon Legends ZA is out there in the wild. If you don't want to see spoilers, don't look at them. It's leaked. You can go play it. And you got to be careful in the tall grass that is the internet. But that is not even the worst of it. The hacker that claims they were behind the Terra leak last year is back at it again with the source code for Z to A beta builds of future games and about 10 gigs of internal documentation. And I don't want to dive too deeply into everything that is there. I really don't want to dive too deeply into everything that is there. But if you want to, do a quick search of the internet. It's going to be sufficient enough to see it. But we did want to chat together, Chris and I, on our opinions on leaks, this leak, leaks in general, and what it entails for the future of games and how they are developed. But, to kind of highlight just a little bit of details about the original Terra leak, there was a whole lot of other stuff that was gotten in that, right? So it wasn't just game information. It was also employee information, personal information like phone numbers, addresses, social security numbers, their work documentation, tons of stuff that realistically, we as a consumer do not need to have access to. Right? I don't need to know who Tetsuo Makuta, who ended up working on XYZ games, where they live. I don't need to know that because all that does is open it up for harassment of different sorts. The general populace does not need to know that. But it is games data as well. And that's what a lot of people are more interested in than anything, is getting an early look at what is in the games that are going to be coming. So, my first question for you, Chris, and then I'll weigh in on it as well. How does this kind of stuff keep happening? Because you would think in a world where you've got this multi-billion-dollar company, the most resource-rich franchise in gaming, that they would be able to figure out how to lock up their data real tight and not store it where it could be gotten. So, what's your opinion on it? How does it keep happening? Why does it keep happening? Weigh in.
Sure. Well, here's the thing. I mean, this leaker says this is still from the first leak, right? They just kept it and didn't reveal it until
That's what I'm
now?
hearing. That's what I'm hearing, is that this is from the original Terra leak. They held on to data, and from what I understand, they're still going to continue holding on to data until we get a little closer to other releases. So this isn't going to be the end of it, most likely. This is just another trickle feed of the stuff that we are getting close to getting access to.
Yeah, they basically said the same thing the first time they leaked some of the stuff, where they were like, there's a lot of stuff on here that is about future games, and I don't want to talk about those because we're so far away.
Right.
But then this one, like, reveals stuff so far away. So I don't know what, like, maybe
Yeah, I
they
mean,
just
we've
wanted
pretty
some
much
more
got
of
like a
the
5-year plan right now from Pokemon Company Game Freak, like what they're
Yeah.
doing over the next 5 years and budgets.
well, what was planned at least.
Yeah.
I mean, plans are
And
changed.
again, this data was over a year old at this point, if it is from that original Terra leak. So
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. This data could have changed significantly in the meantime.
Right, yeah. Like, so when they finally do get announced or come out, might not be even close to this. Like, when they showed originally, there was, when they had the Insomniac leak, and like there was like Wolverine was a part of it, and they had the initial teaser trailer, which was completely different than what they ended up showing. But I feel like they ended up scrapping that, didn't release that trailer, and ended up just releasing what they did. But yeah, there so there is a lot that could change, a lot that could not change. I mean, we could end up knowing a lot more than we think we do.
Right.
And maybe this person has stuff like, oh, here's what the new starters are going to look like for the next, game or something. But they didn't release anything like that. This is basically just kind of like, here's all the stuff they're planning. And in terms of how this happens, I mean, we hear more and more things, like even with like Discord, where it was like a Discord. Was it somebody that worked in like support?
Originally, that was
phishing
one of the Nintendo
email or
leaks, I
something?
believe. That was one of the Nintendo leaks originally. But I'm still uncertain how the Terra leak came to be. I don't think
Yeah.
that the hacker has ever revealed his information. A lot of people assumed it was from an AWS server that they didn't have like locked up well enough. What have you. But I'm kind of with you, is that like the way that I think it really happens is down to just general mistakes or insider information that shouldn't be there, right? Like people who are working at the company who are willing to just talk about stuff that they probably shouldn't be talking about in the first place because they signed an NDA and that's their livelihood, and they'll probably be blackballed from the entire industry for the rest of their lives. Like, I don't know anyone that gets fired for that kind of thing and is immediately able to get a job in that industry again because they don't want that to happen at their companies.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this could be, how like sometimes people will like hack a company in hopes that they will hire them to be their like
Security guy.
their digital security. Well, at least that happened ages ago. People used to do that. I don't know if they still do. But yeah. I mean, that happened last October, and now a year later they released this. I mean, if anything, releasing more and more stuff, it's just going to make Nintendo want to find out even more.
Yeah.
Nintendo and Game Freak, the Pokemon Company, to be even more likely to want to go and take them,
right?
Like find them and make sure they don't post anything else, especially getting closer to, next year's reveal and next year's announcement,
Mm-hmm.
especially if this person is releasing this and then getting a bunch of like, people, a lot of attention, and it can like end up turning into like an endorphin rush, and they'll be like seeking more of that, so they'll want to reveal like juicier and juicier
Right.
stuff.
Because you got to always up the ante. You've got to have something
Yeah.
else in the tank. You're chasing internet cred, right?
right.
It's really funny. I was reading through the live chat here, and one of the things Netta says, and I mean it is the perfect summary of internet security as a whole and keeping digital data in a locker of some sort. Perfect security is impossible, Netta says. An attacker with unlimited time will eventually get your data. Mrs. Nerdwire replies, that confirms it's Nettis. This is what she says.
Yeah.
Couple of other highlights here. You mentioned that hopefully it doesn't equal them delaying their game. Or my apologies. Mnemonic Man says hopefully they don't pull a Valve and delay the game by a year because of the leak. Nettis replies they probably should delay the game by a year because they're all rushed and unfinished. Which is a criticism that I think is fair to an extent, knowing what I've played in the past. But he does go on to add, for the Discord leak that we were talking about, they just paid some guy in Vietnam who worked for Discord to give them the data, and he agreed because Discord was paying him pennies. Which that's a whole other situation.
Right. Yeah.
Like, at that point, that is a livelihood kind of choice. Because if you're working for an industry where you've got access to sensitive data, and yeah, like, you're not going to make anything doing that, I totally understand the desire to go, okay, this place is offering me $100 American. That's like, I could live like a millionaire here in Vietnam. I'm going to give them that data because now I can take time off instead of working for pennies. I kind of understand that, and that kind of segues into the one of the third question on our list here, which is, what is the goal for these leakers? And you and I are talking about internet cred, right? Like, most of the time when you see someone like Pioro, right? Like, the goal is for him to have internet cred, or she, they, whatever the individual was behind that account. Right. It was for internet cred because they're not getting paid for that. Yeah, they're getting clicks and views, and maybe they're getting royalties off of viewership on their posts and ad revenue. But what are they really getting out of doing that beyond the endorphin rush? And I think that statement there with this person wasn't being paid anything, so now they have money on the line that would actually make sense for them to make that risk. And you're chasing that. I think that is a very unique situation in most cases because we have enough people like, I'm not going to say Nate the Hate is a leaker. He's just very accurate with his predictions, right? He doesn't talk about anything that's specifically in most of these things. And even when he does, a lot of times he's wrong, which brings
cryptic.
Yeah. But dates, he's usually pretty right on. But he just, it's one of those things where it is an internet credibility thing, and getting some attention and wanting to build on that platform. But then you kind of talked about it too, where it's like, well, what do you do next? You up the ante, you get something even juicier, right? Like, this is important. I need to leak this to keep the attention. And I don't know, like, it's just, all of that together does make it kind of one of those things where goals can change, but I think overall, most of the time for this kind of situation, it's temporary internet credibility.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Just get talked about. And then, this came out, yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
And it already, people are just talking about Pokemon ZA. They're not really talking about this stuff as much. Most people, I would say, are not even going to know this even got leaked. Like, most of the people that play Pokemon,
right? Well, again, it's a very broad franchise. Like, that, you have kids who are age 4 who love Pokemon, all the way up to adults who are 63 and maybe not plugged completely into the internet. Like, it's just.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's a broad spectrum, and I don't think the general masses are going to know, but the mega fans, and the people like us, news outlets and agencies, are going to know because we're seeing it. The biggest problem here is that, like, the amount of data that is there is so much that is there that it is hard to parse through it all. reason number 2 why we aren't covering it in detail on here, obviously number 1 is Nintendo doesn't want that out there, and I don't need Nintendo coming after our channel. But number 2 is there is so much, and how do you break that down to a consumable form factor? Because there's so much of it out there. And like, yeah, I mean, we're seeing some highlights that are interesting and intriguing, but so much of that information can change, you know, in between now and release time. And so much of it will not remain accurate. So that's the other side of it is like, this is a flash in the pan kind of news story. I don't know that it's one of those things that I think is going to hold up over, you know, 3, 6, 12 months, 3 years, whenever the next whatever thing comes out. And I could be wrong. I could be completely and totally wrong. Maybe it's totally accurate and nothing changes, but I think it does change pretty significantly. And then this information, which is already old, is going to be totally out of date and not matter.
Yeah, because I mean, who knows how much of it even ends up being true? Like, I could see like some people bringing this up, like when the new game gets announced, being like, "Oh, this is how it compares to what leaked."
Yeah.
Because I believe some people did the same thing with Wolverine.
I mean, I know I did. I saw the leaked footage, and I was like, "Oh, this is really close to what was actually leaked."
Right. Yeah.
But I'm with you. I don't think the general populace is going to be that plugged into it. So you're getting a very niche group of a large fan base to pay attention to you for XYZ thing that you're releasing. I don't know.
Right.
Like, it's not very long term.
Also, this is like goes into like Pokemon. Like, there's a certain demographic of the Pokemon fan that like they want to know everything that's going to be in that game before it launches. Like, because Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, they don't like to share a lot. And then Pokemon Company will share quite a bit in terms of the Pokemon that are going to be in the game before it comes out, but people want to know every Pokemon. And so like the few days leading into it, the release, there's a certain group of people that will go online and like look to see what Pokemon are going to be in the game, because they want to make sure they know every single one that's going to be there. They try to like plan out the route ahead of time of which way they're going to go in the game to get that they can get their favorite Pokemon first. But yeah, so there's like that group of people, but then there's also a bunch of people that are just going to, you know what, we're going to get this game, play it. And there's also going to be another group of fans that get the Switch 1 version and play it on the Switch 2 without knowing that there is a Switch 2. They have the wrong version. There's that group of people too. But yeah, in terms of this, Nintendo clearly not happy. Right? They're Nintendo and Pokemon Company, Game Freak taking everything down off the internet. But also now that it's kind of out there, it's going to keep popping up, I'm sure, throughout the ages.
You know, that does kind of lead into the next thing is, you know, do you care about these leaks? And if so, why?
Well, I like to know what games are coming out, so I like to at least see what they look like. We've talked about it before where, you know, we only have so many Legend of Zelda, Mario games left in our lifetime, right? So anytime we can
I don't know why you got to send everybody into an existential crisis right now.
Well, you know, we've only got
guess what, Nidus, Key Addict, Brooksy, you guys got 7 more games in you before you're dead.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, so for that, I want like to at least know what it's gonna be like and what it's gonna be.
Oh, that many.
Yeah.
7's optimistic. Oh man. I'm kind of like, here's the thing. If I'm gonna tell you like where I'm at with it, like, do I care about the Pokemon leaks? I'm not the biggest Pokemon fan. This leak is not my demographic, right? Like, it's not made for me in quite the same way as a lot of other leaks that are out there.
Right. If they were to leak the
someone time out Brooksy out in the live chat, I might get more games than you, Nerdwire.
Well, it's true.
Get her.
It is true.
Jesus. But like, it's one of those things where it's like, this isn't the right demographic for me. If this were like just a Nintendo General leak, I think I would have been more interested. But at the same time, like, the leaks, a lot of times it's more of a curiosity aspect that gets my interest more piqued than the rest of the rest of it. Like, it's not going to change whether or not I'm going to buy something from Nintendo. Like, it's not going to change my opinion on an XYZ game. I can, if anything, I can get more excited about that thing that's getting ready to come out. I know I'm not going to be every type of gamer. That's the reality of it. But do I care about these leaks?
No.
Not really. It gives us news to talk about, but at the same time, there's a lot we can't really talk about, right? Like, I can't talk about this leak in detail because for fear of retaliation. And not that I would want to, because this stuff is stuff they don't really want out there anyway.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess it's more of a big deal because they have for years now have had a new Pokemon game of some sort every year for the last so many years. I mean, the same
25
thing
years.
Same thing with like Legend of Zelda. There's like a new Legend of Zelda game, whether it's a remaster, remake, whatever it is, like almost every year. So if Nintendo were to give us like here, or if it leaked like here's the next 5 years of Zelda games, that'd be something better. But if they were to give us the next 5 years of Mario games, it would just be a big empty sheet of paper. And
no, not true. Not entirely true. There would be the spin-off game. You're going to get a sports game. You're going to get a 2D game. You're going to get a kart game. You're going to get a cameo game.
We're not getting a new Mario Kart in the next 5 years.
You're going to get a Hello Mario game kind of thing that's like for children. You can get a lot of things. There's new Mario stuff every year. You're going to get Princess Peach Showtime 2. Showtime here.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong entirely.
Luigi's Mansion 4.
Yeah. Dude, count me in on that one. I want to see that. I want to see it. But I mean, it is like Brooksy does bring up a good point in the live chat here. Pokemon is kind of the same. You get Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Brush Your Teeth, Pocopium, whatever Pokemon Unite DLC that's coming. So I mean, it's kind of in that ballpark.
You know how they have Supermarket Simulator? What if they just have
Super Mario Simulator?
No, if they just had you worked at the Pokemon like care center, and you had to like people would be out there fighting their Pokemon and bring them to you, and you had to like take them and heal them.
Pokestop Simulator.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome. It's basically a hospital sim. I will say, Kiatic says in the live chat, in regards to, do you care about the leaks? She says, I don't. As an average person, I've heard the whisper of a leak, but didn't look into it. I'm going into the game pretty much blind. And that kind of feels very similar to the general populace, It's like, the average person is not looking into this. And that's totally fine. Like, you don't need to know everything. Netta says Trauma Center, but Pokemon. Oh man, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. I want to be the very best Pokemon nurse, like no one ever was. But I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of. This is a flash in the pan kind of moment that, like, it's cool to look at for a second. I'm going to forget about it until the next game comes out, and then I'm going to go, oh, yeah, I saw that thing, I think. And then have to go back and look and compare, but that's about the extent of it. Like,
right. There's like there was like images that came out, and I'm definitely going to compare those to see what it actually looks like when it does get announced. Very excited.
Um, that leads me into our next section here, which I guess we can kind of fold this into the same thing. So the first question being, is there any benefit to having all of this secrecy for games development as a whole? And then the follow-up question, what does the future look like for games in the development times? So personally, here's my stance on this. I don't think that having the secrecy as a video games company benefits you in any way that's going to be positive or negative. Like, I think, if you're going to have secrecy, whatever. If you're going to be fully public about it, whatever. Do I wish more games would kind of go the mean of the hollower route, right? Not the delays to an indeterminate amount of time, but there were a lot of streams that they still have up on their YouTube archive where they're developing the game right in front of people and doing art assets and various things, and trying not to get into too spoilery territory, but they're trying to show off what they're working on in the game. And I think that's such a cool thing, because it allows me to feel like I have an even more personal connection with that game, where I've gotten to see it. And I've gotten to see how the sausage is made to an extent. And it gives me a greater appreciation of what went into developing that game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I understand why some companies want to have secrecy, especially with like the Pokemon Company and Nintendo. They're out here trying to, get patents on summoning monsters and catching creatures in balls. They don't want to share a lot of how the sausage is made. But unfortunately, in most cases here lately, with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and how terrible that ran, and some of the genuine just like bugs that have invaded just about every single area of Pokemon games in modern times anyway, like, they're not super well optimized. Like, they're not made to the highest standard. And, we now know their budgets, and we can kind of see why a little bit more. But again, that's because of the leak that we have those budgets. Do you think having that secrecy is of any benefit to them? Because me personally, I don't think so. I don't think it changes anything. And if anything, it hinders their progress.
So, yeah, they're just the secrecy in general. I mean, I could see they don't want to announce things like 5 or 6 years out, and then
have to delay, like a Metroid Prime
or canceled, or because they announced Metroid Prime, and then everyone's talking about it at every single event, and then but then you also don't want to like announce a game and then like what was it, Scalebound and like Perfect Dark and like all these games that they got announced, like, and people were excited when they were announced, and then as the years go on, less and less people are excited, and it kind of, you don't want to have like the like Watch Dogs or Watch Dogs 2 effect, where by the time people see it and you're actually revealing like the gameplay of it, people are like, I've heard that you've talked about this like 7 times. We don't care,
Yeah.
It's not new anymore.
I guess you do kind of get the lethargy going, apathy.
Yeah. Once you see it for the first time, that excitement, then you're not going to get that excitement again 7 years later, when they're still showing you that same game that might look the same, might look worse, might look a little better, but it's just not quite the same. So right. I could see not wanting to show off what you're doing, but at the same time, you kind of have an idea of what they're going to do based on what they've done in the past in terms of like releasing the games. But I guess that would be the only benefit I could think of. I mean, you get word of mouth out, people will be talking about it, but then also people would be like, just give us the game already, and then
Yeah.
you show it, and then it still has like 2 or 3 years left before they see it, before it comes out. It might not even come out on the system that you originally announced it on, something
Right.
like that.
Right.
So I could see that being one of the reasons not to show it off too early.
I guess there's kind of that there's kind of that whole Nintendo aspect of how they want to approach things where it's surprise and delight, right? Like
Right.
they're wanting to surprise and delight, and having that curtain, that big opening of the curtain moment with this is what we've got, this is what we've been working on, is like a big deal to them. The unfortunate side of it is like sometimes it is crazy looking, and it is awe inducing, and you have something like Pokemon Legends Arceus, right? And people are excited for that because it's new and different and does something, it turns the formula on its head. Then you have, these moments like Pokemon Legends ZA, and maybe people aren't quite as excited for this title because the reviews have been good, but not as good as what they've experienced in the past. Compare that to, I don't know that they're, I loved Tears of the Kingdom. It's one of my favorite Zelda games of all time, but I think the general consensus on it was that it wasn't as good because it felt like we were retreading the same territory we went in with Breath of the Wild. So that curtain open. And that's like the biggest thing that I can kind of compare that to, and maybe kind of measure that level of excitement in an analog to, Legends Arceus versus Legends ZA.
Right. And because I could see people like, by the time Game of the Year came around, they were like, yeah, it was really good, but they wanted to vote for new experiences.
Astrobot or whatever was out that year. I think it was it Astrobot? No, it wasn't Astrobot. That was the following year. I can't remember anymore.
Yeah, it was probably It Takes Two. No,
I hope not.
when did that come out?
Forever. I was still
2023?
working at GameStop, I think, when that game was out. But does this leak change what the future of games development looks like? Like, do you think, because here's where I'm at with it, I don't think it changes anything for the Pokemon Company. I don't think they care. Like, I mean, I think they care in a legal sense. Like, that's where they care.
They
But I
don't
don't-
want this to happen again.
No.
And they don't want this out there.
It's not
But
going to change their
The
status
faster
quo
they
in a public
extinguish
face.
it, the better.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Baldur's Gate 3. That makes more sense. That makes more sense to beat Tears of the Kingdom. It really does. But I don't think it changes anything with how the Pokemon Company and Nintendo and Game Freak and insert, Nintendo subsidiary partner company here is going to approach how they develop their games for a Nintendo system. They're not going to open up the floodgates and go, here, come on in. Come into the Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and see how we make the everlasting gobstoppers. They're not going to do that, right? At that point, they're going to be worried everyone's going to fall into the blueberry lake and turn into a giant blueberry. The point still stands, though, that they're not going to change anything. If anything, they're going to ratchet down even harder on privacy as much as they possibly can and make sure none of this ever happens again. They're going to take even greater steps to try to make it to where the punishments are even harsher for people who leak that information. And they're going to continue to defend their property because they think they have to. But I just would like a little more openness. And that's kind of where I'm at, is like, I do miss the days, and I'm not saying we have to go back to the quirky weirdness of Reggie and Iwata, right? As much as I love that, I do miss those days. But I want to have a personal investment in these games rather than them being an advertising ploy for them to sell me something else down the road. And I feel like I would spend more money than I would if I was brought into the process as a spectator, not as a developer. I don't listen to me on how to make your game. But I want to have some sort of connection there. And that's what I miss about old Nintendo more than anything, is right now everything feels like spectacle, advertisement, spend money.
Right, exactly. And so, I mean, it's just a matter of, but I don't think Nintendo's going to change their ways and start announcing things earlier. If anything, this might tighten the lid and make them not want to share anything. I mean, they already barely do share anything.
Right.
I mean, the Switch was out for how many months before we like knew what the rest of the year looked like?
2. It was 2 months before we knew what the rest of the year looked like, and
Yeah.
that's crazy. That is crazy, because I mean, I do want to know what's happening for my wallet's sake. You know, it's like, hey,
Right,
let me know. Let me know what do I need to pony up. Don't surprise me like that. That's not going to delight me after you've surprised me that way. Like,
Right. Exactly.
oh man. But I think ultimately this boils down to one final question, and you know, this is posed for both of us and us as an outlet. You know, do we think that hackers leaking this information is fine? And I'm gonna let you kind of hit this one first.
Do I think? I don't think it's fine. I don't think they should be leaking stuff like this. You know, if they do leak it, I'm not going to stop myself from looking at it, but I don't necessarily think that it needs to happen. Definitely doesn't need to happen, and they don't need to do it. And then other stuff where they are like, whether it's like stuff is leaking out, like, you know, where the stuff was like going on to, what was it, like the back end of the eShop or something, because it's all on a website.
Yeah.
Somebody found the back end, so they knew when stuff
It was
getting
back
added.
end of YouTube stuff.
Yeah, and then that got sorted out, and this and that, and yeah, no, I mean, it's fun. I want to know as much as possible in terms of what's coming out, but I don't want to find out about it that way. I'd rather them tell us, but
Right.
yeah, I don't think.
I'm glad you answered that way, because I didn't know if we were going to be on the same page or not when I put that question in here. And I was like, how are we going to answer this? But I think ultimately, like, we are on the same page. I think hacks of any kind aren't fine when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like, especially considering some of the information that was in there. Like we said at the top of the hour, it was information about, you know, their personal data, their employment data, their date of birth, their address, their phone numbers, their everything was in there. And that was information that should have been protected better and not stored in a server with all the rest of the documentation that was taken. But, you know, the personal stuff aside, it is that other flip side of it where it's like, will I look at it? 100% I'm going to look at it. Is it good for us as a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel? And does it get clicks to talk about it? Sometimes. It absolutely does sometimes. Heaven knows we talked a lot about stuff that was coming out of factories for the Switch 2, right? Like on production lines. We did a whole lot of that. But for some reason, I put that in a different category in my head, you know, 12 months ago, and didn't think about the other ramifications of it. But the flip side of it is that this is malicious in a sense that these people went out of their way to get their information. They're holding on to information. They're leaking it as new games are getting closer. And it is very clear that it's done maliciously. Whereas, you know, old lady working in the factory, you know, maybe she didn't do it maliciously. She just wanted people to look at a post she posted on Reddit and thought it was cool. You know, like it just is something in a completely different sense. And a lot of times it is done for ransom, right? Like it's, hey, if you comply with me and give me this blah, 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 I won't release this information. A lot of times it's done that way.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe not in this case. We don't know what the motivations were behind all of this. Because the identity of the leaker is still not even out there. We only know what they've shared. But at the end of the day, I would much rather find this stuff out from Nintendo. I don't need someone to go and do the dirty digging for me. And ultimately, like, hackers need to stop hacking. Like, don't be hacker man. It's not cool anymore. It used to be cool in the 80s and the 90s when they were putting them in movies. Now you just look like an ultra nerd because you're not hacking anything but a Pokemon. Like, that's all you're hacking.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of where we land on it. Obviously, if you guys have different opinions, let us know in the comments. Talk to us about what you are excited about with Pokemon Legends ZA. We'll be talking about it more next week with Kiatic. It's going to be a good time. But Chris, do you have any final thoughts on it before we go to a quick break?
Nope, nothing else to say.
All right. Well,
faded out.
You're sayed out. Well, we're going to go to a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to be talking about all the games that are coming out this week that you should care about. Nobody go anywhere. Go grab yourself a drink, get a quick stretch in, and we'll see you in about 4-ish minutes. Welcome back, everybody, from that quick ad break. We just wrapped up talking about hacks and leaks and hacks, and Nintendo and Pokemon Company and Game Freak needing to patch up their boats to make sure they don't go under. Not that they're in any danger of that, but we're going to be filling you in on all the games that you need to know about that are coming out this week, and we got some bangers. It's not quite as full a deck as we've had in a while, but we got some good bangers, and Chris is going to be your guide through the world of Nintendo right now. Tell him about it. Tell him about it, Chris.
Now or never. We don't know. Okay, so we got Ball Pit is out tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Right?
I think that's tomorrow.
The
15th?
The 15th, yes. Okay, so we've got Ball Pit, very exciting game. Sadly, there's no demo on the Switch, but because the demo on Steam has like your progress carries over, but this is a game that is multiple layer. It's like a roguelike that you are doing stuff in between runs. It's basically just an alleyway kind of game, but instead of like the balls all automatically come back to you, and then you got to take out the enemies as they're coming towards you, and you take them out, and then in between doing those runs, you are tending to your farm and like your village basically, and then building that up each run. As you take out the enemies, you're picking up gold and working your way through it. And so it's definitely a game. I mean, if you're trying to think about what it looks like, the art, especially in between, you can tell that it's by the same like pixel artist as Loop Hero. And it was like multiple people working on it. Devolver Digital's publishing it. Ball Pit. The Switch version is out tomorrow, the 15th, for $14.99. The Switch 2 version is coming out later this year as a free upgrade. It will not be a free upgrade in Japan, but that's because they can't make it free upgrade by law. And then after that, we got the 16th is the Cabin Factory. Now, this game you might not think to put it on the list of games you want to check out.
I have to throw shade. I didn't have this on the list. I didn't have it on the list. I got shade.
No, I'm saying like just looking at it, because it's a $2.99 game. You know, a lot of times when you see like a game that is $2.99, it's like almost like makes you pause. Like, is this going to be good, or is this just going to be one of, especially the way the eShop is right now? Like, not just the eShop, like every single digital market, there's like just a lot of slop. But this Cabin Factory, I like it. I played the demo on Steam and watched a couple of streams, and it's basically you've got a factory with a bunch of different cabins. It's all in the name. And then you go in and you have to determine if it is haunted or not. But if you're in there too long trying to figure out whether or not it's haunted, you will be murdered. So you need to like go ahead. Okay, yeah, this place is definitely, you could sometimes get the vibe like just walking in, you can tell, and you got to get out of there as quickly as possible. Hit the button, let them know it is haunted. If it's not, then hit the green button, let it go on its way. But yeah.
It's a lot like Exit 8 in the way the game loop is. So, you know, got to decide if something seems off and you know, continue, or if something's fine and go the other way, you know.
Right. And you don't want to clear it if it is haunted. That would not be good either.
Don't need to put out those haunted cabins out into the marketplace. That's awful.
Please don't. Please don't. And then hold on, it's not loading up.
You got Sidap, a culinary adventure.
Sidap. A culinary. Listen, I love a good culinary adventure. This is like a multiplayer game where you're kind of, it's like a combat cooking game that combines like, you have like the kitchen that you're working in together, right? And you also have to adventure and explore like this world. So you're like going on runs, doing that while getting ingredients. It's kind of, there was another game that came out last year or 2 years ago that was kind of like this, but it was single player. But yeah, this one is $19.99, coming out October 21st. And I don't know about you, but I like the look of the game. This is another game I played the demo of on Steam. Enjoyed my time playing it. I only played single player, but the idea of being able to get to play some multiplayer, that'd be great. Definitely like it quite a bit. That is coming out on the 21st for $19.99. Then we have on October 9th, already happened, but it was like one of those things where they announced them and they were out right then. Bubsy in Claws Encounters of the Furred Kind. Then we also have Fatal Fury Special and Mario and Wario. Now, Mario and Wario, these are all SNES games, but that is a Super Famicom game, and it never came to America. So it's another mouse game. I mean, you know what? They had me at mouse.
Mouse controls, mouse mode. Come on now.
Yeah, mouse controls, exactly. Did you play any of these?
I have not had the chance to dive into these just yet this week. It's been kind of a crazy week.
I just mean when they came. Like, did you ever play any of them?
I was not a Bubsy kid, dude. Like, Hero the Acrobat was the closest I got to Bubsy, and
Okay.
you know, and even beyond that, like Fatal Fury, like. I'm a Mortal Kombat guy at that point. Like I loved Mortal Kombat on the Super Nintendo,
Right.
Killer Instinct, but Fatal Fury just never really caught my attention. Mario and Wario would have had I had the chance to get my hands on it back in the day. I absolutely would have played this edutainment game and had a good time doing it. But I don't know, like Mario and Wario, like the aesthetic is so strange. Like it's very clear that this is not Nintendo. You know, like this is some other third-party company that decided to put this together, and
Yeah.
it reminds me
And
of
by third company, you mean Game Freak.
This is a Game Freak game? What?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I had no clue.
Yeah. Mario and Wario, it almost feels like this ended up becoming like they didn't want to make Mario or Wario as big, and so they went with Mario and Donkey Kong, or Donkey Kong and Mario.
It
games.
feels like a Mario versus Donkey Kong game. It really does.
Like this was like the
March of the Minis kind of situation where you're trying to move the little toys around.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean it's basically a lot of the same stuff with like that you're just going through and getting, and yeah, that's what it reminds me of. But yeah, I mean you can go play it right now. Using mouse controls. Shout out to it.
Plug in your mouse on Switch 1 or use your Joy-Con 2 on Switch 2. So you'll be able to do one or the other.
You know how they have the Virtual Boy coming out? They should have like a shell that looks like the Game Boy, or it looks like the SNES
Super Nintendo mouse. Yes.
And yeah.
I want that, and I want Wiimotes. I want Wiimotes, traditional Wiimotes on here.
Okay, yeah, with the rubber.
Yeah, I mean, you got to put the sock on it. Like you've got it. You can't get away from doing it.
They don't want to have people are throwing their Joy-Cons into the TV playing
all over again. Over again. What's coming out for Switch 2, my friend?
Well, same thing that's coming out for Switch 1. Not Mario. I was gonna say Mario and Mario. Switch 2
I mean, technically, it is on both.
That's true. Shout out to it. Pokemon Legends ZA on Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2, $69.99. This is coming out on Thursday, October 16th. Go ahead and get it physically and digitally. Already shot up to the top of the charts on the eShop, obviously. I mean, that's
preloads have already started,
do,
so
pretty much, except for maybe,
Dragon Drive.
wheelchair game, yeah.
Arms, no legs.
Yeah. But yeah, Pokemon Legends ZA. Go ahead and pick that up October 16th for $69.99 on the Switch 2, $59.99 on the Switch 1 with a $10 upgrade.
That's wild to me. $10 upgrade to go from the Switch 1 version to the Switch 2 version, and all it is frame rate enhancements. I mean,
it's
really,
basically the Violet.
Yep. Yep, it is
Scarlet
the
and
same
Violet update.
game. Ned
Yeah.
is screaming in the chat, and that's kind of where I'm at. Was like, it's the same game. It's not. You're not like most of the other games didn't cost $10 extra just because the frame rate and resolution was better. Like most of the rest of them got free upgrades. Pokemon Company out here with the greed. I'm glad they got hacked. I take back everything I said a month ago. God.
Well, we'll talk about that in 2 months when
When Nintendo takes down our channel.
when Metroid Prime 4 comes out and it's the same game basically.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean,
Better
that's
frame
fair.
rate, though.
That's fair. That's totally fair. I kind of get it. But I mean, you're getting mouse mode controls at that point. You're not getting those on they're at the addition of
How
mouse
do you
mode.
know? There could be.
There's not. There absolutely isn't. But that does bring us to the next segment of the show. This is Pixman, also known as Pixel Minute. Never have we once ever called it Pixel Minute. It's only known as Pixman. This is the segment of the show where Chris must guess the exact name of a game that was released this week in Nintendo history. It could have been this year. It could have been last year. It could have been 20 years ago. It could have been 30 years ago.
Any
It could have been
year.
40 years ago. But
There's no way of knowing.
we are going to be throwing
Sometimes
it
it
over
never
to that.
even came to America.
Yeah, I mean, I do really like to throw you for a loop on that, but I think you're probably going to get this one today. But Christopher, let me ask you, do you think you're ready? Because I can tell you, you're not getting my feed. Now you're getting my feed.
I
Are you
don't
ready
think
now?
I'm quite ready yet. Yeah, I'm ready now.
All right. We're going to do this in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Let's go. Purple. A lot of purple. Is it a Ditto?
Mm-mm.
No.
Wouldn't that be
is
wild?
it Pokemon?
Hmm?
Pokemon. Yeah. It's definitely Pokemon, but which Pokemon is it?
Which thing Pokemon is it?
Is it Pokemon Crystal?
Mm-mm.
No. No, there's no way of knowing. I'm gonna say it's Pokemon Emerald.
Mm-mm.
No. Okay, well then it's not that. What the heck? There's no way of knowing. Yeah, is it Pokemon CA?
No, it's not Legend ZA. You are so close, Chris. Come on. All right, final
it
guess for
gold?
1 point. Yes, it is gold. It is actually gold, but this is from the gold silver. You can see the rival out there peeking into the Pokemon professor's plays for 1 point. For 1 point on the board, Pokemon Gold. Pokemon Gold version and Pokemon Silver version are a 1999 role-playing video game developed by Game Freak and published by Nintendo for the Game
1999.
Boy.
Could you
Color.
imagine?
I know, right? Isn't it wild? They are the first installments in the second generation of the Pokemon video game franchise and were released in Japan in 99, Australia, North America in 2000, and Europe in 2001, with a North American release date of October 15th, the year 2000. Pokemon Gold and Silver were critically acclaimed upon release, and they are considered to be among some of the best games in the entire series, as well as some of the most significant games of the fifth generation of video game consoles. So Pokemon Gold for 1 point, Christopher. Congratulations. You
Thank
really
you.
knocked
Add
it out
to
of the
my
park.
tally.
I will. Let me tag that on there. I
Yeah.
loved. Did you play much of Pokemon Gold and Silver?
Yeah, I played so much. I got every Pokemon.
Nettist, right on the money, by the way, in the chat. Gold, silver. You were on track with Crystal. You were right there on track with Crystal. I was waiting. I was like, come on, you're just gonna go down the list at that point, and then you didn't. You surprised me. You took a really weird left turn, and went straight to Pokemon Legends ZA. Like, what is going on here? But I remember getting for Christmas the year 2000. I got Pokemon Silver and a teal Game Boy Color and a link cable for Christmas that year. And my cousin Johnny, who we've talked about on the show that I almost threw out a second story window, my cousin Johnny, he got also a teal Game Boy Color, and his parents got him Pokemon Gold. So that way we could trade with each other and get the different Pokemon. And that was a really good Christmas. I cannot tell you how many hours I spent in Pokemon Silver. Way too many. Because later on that month, I actually got, as a follow-up Christmas present, a Game Shark from a relative as well. So I was able to get all the Pokemon with no issues at that point. But it was sick. It was such a good Christmas. Such a good Christmas. Loved Pokemon Gold, Silver, and then Ruby and Sapphire came out, and those ended up stealing my heart a little bit more than Gold and Silver did. But there's something just like, I don't know, nostalgia-inducing about Gold and Silver in a way that like Red and Blue doesn't do it for me. Quite the same way Gold and Silver does. So I always liked
Gold and Silver. Yeah. Also interesting. The image was in color, but Gold and Silver wasn't in color when it first came out.
It was on the Game Boy Color. It was in color.
Yeah.
They were released as dual packs, so you got them as Game Boy. They would work on the both. Game Boy. Yeah. In a non-color palette, and then they would work on the Game Boy Color with its full color palette. The screen wasn't bright. It didn't have a backlight, so you couldn't really tell anyway. It looked so bad. Oh, man.
But those Pokewalkers, I'll tell you what.
Well, no, that came later. That came later.
Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I played a lot of those, and it definitely used that Pokewalker a lot.
I'm with you. 100% with you. Well, listen, we got just a few more news items here for the Extra Nintendo News segment.
Break it down.
On the My Nintendo News section, a Pikmin Hyacinth wallpaper can be yours for the low price of free on My Nintendo. Another new sweepstakes launched, this time featuring Pokemon Legends ZA. Enter up to 5 times at 10 platinum points per entry. Get the chance to win a technical adventure backpack featuring a Pokemon Legends ZA design on it, a 60-inch by 40-inch gigantic sublimated blanket featuring artwork from Pokemon Legends ZA, and a 34-ounce stainless steel water bottle featuring the starters Chikorita, Tepig, and Totodile. NSO icons, Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, as well as Donkey Kong Bonanza icons are on their final wave. Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 available till tomorrow. Bonanza available until day after tomorrow on the 16th. I would expect to see some Pokemon Legends icons hit rotation later this week. And as a reminder, the monthly play and redeem icons are Mario Party 3, which requires a Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pass membership to redeem them, and Mario's Super P-Cross sets. Play corresponding games to claim them anytime during October. In sales and deals, Raw Fury launched a sale for the Kingdom series of games. Snag Kingdom 2 Crowns and all of its DLC at a discount, and Ziggurat Games, known for Slave Zero X, and the Boy and His Blob remakes are having a sale right now. Most items are about 45% off. There are no demos of note this week, but as a reminder, next week, Splatoween Splatfest in Splatoon 3 is back. Choose between your favorite ghoulish friend, who would be best? A zombie, a skeleton, or a ghost. The event starts on October 24th. Nintendo today finally revealed what all the hype was around the Close to You short that they released last week, and it was indeed Pikmin related. Congratulations, Netist, knowing the things, knowing that it's definitely Pikmin. This is a debut short film from the newly acquired Nintendo Pictures. I'm personally super excited to see what comes next after seeing that, but I want to see more Nintendo stuff instead of them being, cryptic about it, about what's coming. It'd be really nice if they would actually, show some more stuff. Nintendo's Alarmo is getting more DLC in the way of a Kirby theme. It's official. Alarmo has definitely had more updates than Super Mario Maker 2 now. In the category of leaks, another group known as Crimson Collective is claiming to have hacked Nintendo. Whether it's real or not has yet to be determined, but pay attention to the headlines as we get deeper into this season. They claim to have access to production assets, administration files, previews, and more. And Nintendo is also set to open its 4th store in Japan. Say hello to Nintendo Fukuoka coming soon. So, all that being said, Christopher, where can they find you?
You can find my link tree, and then pretty much just go from there. What about you? Where the heck are we finding you?
You can find me over at nerdwireplays.com, but I will be live tomorrow night over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/nerdwireplays, with a bunch of my friends. Got 7 people at the table playing various superheroes on a new season of Marvel Multiverse, a tabletop role-playing game where I am the storyteller, narrator, GM, whatever title you want to give me. For 7 of my amazing heroes. And it's going to be cool. And I've got something really cool planned. Chris has seen some of the stuff that I've got put together. He can vouch for it. He thinks it's cool. At least I think he does. He told me it is, unless he's just stroking my feathers, you know. But it's going to be a good time. Come and hang out with me tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And remember, you can catch us live Tuesday nights, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on both Twitch and YouTube every week. View all of our previous episodes over in video form over at youtube.com/@the-Nintendo-Rewind. And, you know, go follow all the social media garbage over at nintendorewind.com. We love your faces. Remember, be kind, please rewind, and we will catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Flash in a pan.
Flash in a pan. Bye-bye. Oh, no, I don't have the outro on here.
Toodaloo.